Hi, and thank you for joining me for day 3 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life round 13. And today I'm documenting the beautiful city of Bangor in Northern Ireland. This was our last trip over there to clear Ross's dad's house before the sale in August. So I've pulled out Vicki Boutin Where To Next, and I'll explain why in a minute. But I'm just creating the strips that Susan L, who's the designer of today's sketch, has put down the right hand side. Now I am mirroring this sketch because the way that my photos are, I wanted them on the left hand side rather than the right. So it's been rotated 380 degrees or mirrored, whichever one you want to say. So I've just pulled out a few different papers that I think will work for the strips behind the photos. And you can see at the beginning there, I've layered the photos together so that I know exactly how I want them to go. And I'm just cutting these strips out to layer behind. The colours were pulled more or less from the photos. That bluey green is a map of, like a street map, so I wanted to include that. But you can see here, when I start to layer those photos up on the papers that I've chosen, they kind of get lost. I decided to cut this piece of the striped paper just because it was getting lost, the small bit of pink that I'd used there. But when I put these photos on top now, you'll see you can't really distinguish the photos from all the pattern paper. It just gets really busy and I'm really not happy with how it's working. So first of all, I switch out that stripy black and white paper because I think maybe I need something slightly more solid. I don't know why I thought that this one was more solid, but it's got the florals. It's less uniform, I suppose. So I try that, and then I pull everything off and decide that I'm going to lay the papers down exactly as I would want them on the background. So starting with that stripy paper and then the black and white floral, and then I bring in the cloudy paper, which is coming in a second, and then that street map on the edge, and put the photos back again. I don't use that stripy black and white paper. But you can see they're just completely lost on those mats and I'm really at a loss of what to do. So I bring in some black card because black quite often lifts things and I wanted something solid, and you can see straight away how those photos just pop up off the page. So at first I decide I'm going to cut a strip of black paper and sit them both on top of that, but I'll quickly see that you lose all the pattern paper behind and all the structure of the layout, and I really didn't want that because I do love Susan's sketch today, so I didn't want to lose the integrity of the sketch really. So I decided to cut them into 2 squares of black paper. So this is part 2. I'm not finished yet. So I just cut the 2 squares of it's black cardstock, and layer the photos on that and decide that that's what I'm going to go with. But as soon as I put those on, it's almost the same as having the block of paper. It's still covering too much, but without it you can see it just gets lost. So while I'm having a think, I distress all the edges of all the papers and get them adhered down. Well, the first one is, I don't think I've done the other ones yet. And it's at this point that I decide that I'm just going to cut that black as a photo mat, so just leaving a couple of millimetres around the edge of all the photos. So gluing down the papers, and then you'll see in a minute what I mean about leaving the black line. And that black line around the edge of the photos is just enough to give that definition, and I'm really pleased with how it turns out in the end. So I'm going to stick the photos down onto the black card and then just cut around using my big scissors just to leave that small edge of black all the way around the edge. And this way you still get to see all those beautiful pattern papers that are underneath, but you get the definition for the photos that you want, because obviously you want your photos to shine on a layout. You want them to be the focal point and not the papers or anything else that might sort of diminish that highlighting of the photos. So just to make them stand out that little bit more, I'm adding them onto foam pads just to make them stand up above the layers behind them. This also helps because I've roughed up all the edges with my Tim Holtz edge distresser, so there is a bit of texture going on underneath them. So I lay them both down and then decide that the top piece I want to move over a bit more to the left. So you will see me putting that down here and then pulling it up again. But it wouldn't be me if I didn't do some messing around. And there was a lot of messing around on this layout, you'll see in a minute. So just repositioning. Now all these photos we went down to a pub on the other side of Bangor called the Esplanade. It's around the bay of Bangor, and it was absolutely gorgeous. It's a lovely walk. It's about a 3.5 mile walk from Ross's dad's house. And the weather wasn't too bad. It was a bit rainy that day, but it held off while we walked. So it was really lovely to get down there and have a nice meal together. So I'm going to title this Beautiful Bangor. Amelia loves taking photos of the scenery and the buildings when we're out and about. So I snagged these photos from her just to demonstrate how gorgeous it is. So that beautiful title piece is from the ephemera pack, and then Bangor, I've used some really old thickers from American Crafts called Doll. They're a gorgeous like a canvas fabric on them, really, really pretty. So I use those because they've been in my stash for years. The adhesive is more or less gone, so but you'll see I put the title down and then decided that it was too far over to the centre of the layout, so I had to move it again. And now I'm adding foam onto this beautiful piece just so that it layers over the top of that word Bangor and sits really neatly there in that little divot, if you like, which is shown on the sketch as well, you see at the top there. Now these stickers are the reason that I pulled this line out to do this layout. I love the building stickers on the bottom of the Where To Next 6x12 sticker sheet, and they sort of emulate the buildings that they've got in Bangor, all the different colours and things. So I use those across the bottom right hand side, so going a bit rogue because obviously they aren't in the sketch, but I just felt the need to bring those in. And then I brought in that piece that says travel notes, again from the 6x12 sticker sheet, because I'm going to do all my journaling where it shows in the sketch. So just wanted to bring something in to denote that. And then I see this geotag that says love, so I think that'll work nicely at the top. I've used my roller date stamp to add the date at the bottom underneath that bottom photo, and then I'm just going through the stickers to see what else I can add. So I found that piece that says document, which I've added to the top, and then there are these lovely hearts in 3 different colours. There's green, red and yellow, so I just scatter those around the page. And then I decide to bring in some loops of ribbon. I do love doing this on my layouts. So a little pink one at the top here, and then just to mirror it, I'm going to bring in a black and white stripe in the bottom left-hand corner on that bottom left-hand photo. I'm trying really hard not to do any mixed media today. So avoiding that, I decide to reach for my trusty thread. So just adding some pink tangled thread in 3 spaces around the layout, bottom left-hand corner, in the middle above that beautiful title, and then top left-hand corner. And that just brings that pink around the page a little bit more that you can see in the buildings, in the photos. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do check the description box down below for everybody joining in on this hop. There's a playlist that Christie's organised for us, and I'll also put any details for Susan, who created the sketch, that I can find, any links to her social media. And other than that, I shall see you tomorrow for day 4. Thanks so much again. Bye.